I kind of took part in Miss India. I mean, you have to give it your whole body, mind, soul, preparation, all of that. Bipasha's conversation was one of bravery, was one of strength. I think I was having multiple conversations with my son Gorik. Let me finish the schedule and then you come out, because I'm happy to do anything. I don't, because of one day of patchwork, I don't want to wear a fake belly. I want to keep it real. I feel like there's just so much more work that needs to be explored right now. Yeah.
If this is the first episode of What's Your Story that you're watching, thank you for being here. And if you're back here again, thank you for that. Also, today we have with us Neha Dhupia as a guest. I'm so excited to have you here.
Likewise, I'm so excited to be here.
Well, since this is called What's Your Story, we'll start right at the beginning.
Okay.
There is so much you are doing. Like you've been a model, you're an actor, you have a production house, you're a mom. There's so much going on. But when you were younger, when you were a child, yahi sapna tha. Do you think this was the dream?
I don't know, I feel like I was a child such a long time ago that I don't know and I can't remember the dream. Like just now when you were introducing me, there was a part of me that, yeah, I'm doing a lot. And then there was a part of me like, do I come across confused? But I feel like everything is a progression of what I've done previously. The big dream, of course, was to become an athlete. And I tried every sport. And maybe that's the mistake I made, that I tried every sport. The whole thing about being an athlete is you have to play that one sport for forever and ever with the same amount of focus and discipline. So then you can get ahead with it.
You have to keep training in that one specific.
But, that didn't happen and this happened. And there's nothing wrong with what happened. So no complaints whatsoever. I mean, I don't know. Like if I were, like sometimes when I go to a different setup and I'm like, if I were to do this or if I was doing this, would I really be good at it? I don't even know if I'm good at what I do right now, but I know that I'm doing it. And then for as long as you're working on something, or for as long as people are interested in you, or for as long as you're relevant, I feel like that's half the battle won in this day and age, at least.
Right. I think when I was younger, the first introduction I had into modeling was because my family was so excited that you won.
Right. Miss India.
Yeah. Especially because my father was in the Navy. So it was a whole thing.
Wow. Hello, fellow Navy
Nice to meet
kid and, naval officer's daughter.
Yeah.
So that's lovely. So where was your dad serving?
My dad served in Mumbai and Kochi.
Okay.
He's a doctor, so he's worked in the naval hospitals in Mumbai and Kochi. And I think before I was born, he worked in Delhi, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, when you won, everyone took it like, oh, hamare ghar se.
Yeah, I know. I got that a lot, which is great, isn't it? Like, I feel like being a part of the defense forces is also such a great community. We don't talk about it enough. But I mean, I just feel like I know you because you're a fellow 4G kid, and it makes me feel amazing. But I was also born and raised in Kerala. So that's when it all began. And at the time when I kind of started acting or modeling, there was no preparation. There was no social media. There was no what do we do and where do we go from here? Not that it's easier for people who are doing it now because there's so much of it. So it's the other side. It's the other contrast. But when we were doing it, we were clueless. Like, we were like, Bombay jayenge, and I was still that generation ki haan train se utrenge and then we'll figure our lives out. Only difference was main plane se utri thi. And that was literally, I think, the first or the second time I'd ever traveled by air. And I mean, my life was in many ways very kind of, I had the ability and I had the experiences and very open, but at the same time very cocooned. I don't know how to describe it, but that's the kind of upbringing I had.
I understand the upbringing thing because especially as defense kids, you grow up in a certain enclosed space, right? Matlab, jo dost bante the, even when we shifted somewhere, were kids I had met earlier only.
Yes.
So it's when I came, I think, shifted to colleges and I actually learned more and figured out that there's more to learn in dunya mein.
There's a world out there. Because I feel like there was a part of us that had it very easy and there was a part of us that had it very tough. So it's both ways, And I feel like when you're a 4G kid, there's so many of you excelling that there's a lot of I can do better. And sport is such a large part of who you are when you're growing up. And if you're a Fauji kid, you understand that, because being outdoors is so important. And that's how I raise my children as well. That your, 4:30 to 6:30 time, or your 4 to 6, depending on what time of the year it is so important. I never keep them at home. Like, they're always outdoors and doing things. And I'm hoping that, I can bring in half the value system, or if not all of it, and I'll come out glorious as a parent. And it's so important to give them that, what we've inherited.
But yeah, coming to motherhood, and I'm sure you prepare a lot to be a mother. But was it enough? Are you ever actually prepared completely for motherhood?
No, I just feel like your kids tell you exactly what to do. Like, we think that, for like a small example, like, I think that I'm the one who makes the schedules for them, but actually they're the ones who make the schedule for us. Because if they're going to go to school at 6 in the morning every day, is the time that we all need to wake up as a home and as a family, then it's not me deciding that. It's their school and their time that actually backtracks. And the fact that lights out for the kids have to be at 7:45 and lights out for us have to be like 10 p.m. It's them, who actually defines it. So I feel like motherhood kind of, it auto-tunes and it learns, and it's a process. As much as the child is trying to figure things out, you're trying to figure things out for the child. The joys, the trials, the challenges are all different at different ages. I haven't experienced, I'm about 4.5, 5 years old into motherhood. I've experienced what it was like when I was pregnant. I've experienced the 4th trimester. I've experienced breastfeeding. I've experienced, raising a little baby, and, she's a toddler now. And, I have another one who's tiny. And so it's just different times and phases of you being a mother. Actually, kind of, your kids teach you a lot, and the rest of it, there's information. You can reach out to fellow moms. I always say, have your own like 3-4 sets of not sets, but 3-4 moms and experts who you can rely on. And maybe stay away from Google when it comes to, what kind of a perfect mom you need to be. I didn't refer to any sort of, books or reading, because I haven't even been a mother for that long yet. But I still feel like I can write my own book. Because everyone's journey is different, but the beauty of it is that everyone's journey is probably somewhere kind of similar as well.
That's very interesting. But coming back, आपने जैसे बोला कि आप जब मुंबई आए थे, there wasn't social media, there wasn't the exposure that at least that exists today. तो वो जो journey था of landing in Mumbai and then entering films, was that easy?
I came to Mumbai and then I kind of took part in Miss India. You have to give it your whole body, mind, soul, preparation, all of that to actually, get down to winning, because everyone over there on that stage is smart, they're beautiful, they're intelligent, they want the same thing, and they want it as bad as you do. So it's not like dekh lenge kya hoga. Nobody has that attitude. So, you want to go in with 100%. I won, and then after that, it's like one project and then another project. I'm saying it's not even easy now. Like, I've been doing this for 21 years and it's not easy. It's like, you have to have a voice, you have to be relevant, you have to have, multiple projects that you're doing, you have to associate yourself, especially after the number of years that I've been in the business, in different things, and things that are relevant to the phase that you're living in your personal life as well. So there has to be a large association with, if you have to work with brands, the association has to be organic. There has to be a certain amount of truth. It's not like, I'm a mother of 2 right now, and completely youth-driven brands will be like, hey, Neha is the ideal face. Or then you have a 21-year-old and be like, let's get her to endorse diapers. It doesn't work like that anymore. So there has to be storytelling and truth, even when you're working with brands or if you're working on film or shows. I had my children about 4.5, 5 years ago. I haven't really dabbled in OTT. I've probably done one film, and after that, I'm looking at doing other shows. And then there was a lockdown. I had another baby. So I'm kind of finding my pace now, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah. I think you did a mini series, mini movie.
I did a movie as well. Good Morning with Guneet Monga. And I also did Thursday with RSVP and Behzad. But I feel like there's just so much more work that needs to be explored right now. Yeah.
But Thursday, you brought that up. It's genuinely, I was so pleasantly surprised by it. honestly, when you entered the screen, just the fact that there was a police officer, a working woman who was pregnant on the job was so refreshing to see. क्योंकि बहुत बार होता है ना कि even if the actress is pregnant, they kind of hide it during on the movie or on the show. So it was very nice to actually see it on screen. क्योंकि फिर वो there's ऐसा division हो जाता है कि either you're a pregnant woman or you're working.
And I feel like a lot of credit needs to go to the people who hire you for the job. I mean, I was working on lots of things at that time when when I got to know that I'm pregnant, and I went back and I told all the people I was working with at different times that this is what has happened. And true to what you said, there were one or two of them who said that, listen, it doesn't work out for us, and we'll have to ask you to step down. And it's tough, stepping down from anything that you're really excited to work on. But I mean, it's also true that it happened. But I tip my hat off to Behzad and Ashley and Ronnie Screwwala and Pashan. And all of them are men in the business. Mm-hmm. So, these bunch of boys said, hey, it's not like cops are not pregnant. And it's not, are you okay with this? Because you're coming out of a lockdown, are you okay? And I was just like, yeah. And I would rock up to work with this big visor so that, I'm all kinds of protected. I had immense help from Angad. I had the worst kind of morning sickness in my third trimester. And he looked at me on the first day and he's like, this is going to be hard. And I was like, no, I've taken it up and I'm going to make sure I do it. So both of us together did it. And I think I was having multiple conversations with my son, Gorik, who's now, of course, going to be 2 years old. At that point, I was just like, let me finish the schedule and then you come out, because I'm happy to do anything. I don't, because of one day of patchwork, I don't want to wear a fake belly. I want to keep it real. And yeah, sure enough, I think we were finishing our last few pages of dubbing, and that's when my contractions kicked in when I was at Yashar's studio. And I was like, this is not right. This is a really cold place, and why am I sweating? And that's when I realized that, I'm having contractions. And then I had sweat coming down, and I was like, time to go.
It's happening.
It's happening. Yeah, so it's cool. Like, it's nice. It's nice to go straight from, and not everyone can do it. Like, it's nice to go from a dubbing theater or what you'd like to call office to, straight to the hospital and then have your baby in your arms. But it's not everyone's journey, and I'm not advocating it, but it's my journey, so I'm sharing it. Like, it's as simple as that.
It's not a compulsion that...
Not at all.
It's the fact that they asked you if you could do it. That's the point. Like,
no, and then I feel like as moms also, I'm just like, I always say this, and it's a very common and cliche line in 2023, but you do you, that's the most important thing. No one's going to come in and let them not be the ones to tell you what to do. And for the ones who are, like, try not to judge.
If I am not wrong, you have done theatre, right? Graffiti, I think, is a...
Yeah, but that was many, many years ago.
A lot of years ago.
Yeah.
But still, like, to do theatre is tough. To do that also early on is difficult.
Yeah, but I didn't do it for that long. Like, I was very excited by film as a medium, and I love watching theatre. But I've got many opportunities even now to work in theatre, but I don't know if I have that much time to invest back. I don't have the time more than anything else, because it really needs another level of, like, discipline and commitment and getting to the other side and getting a stage and then filling audiences. It's a tough one.
But since we were talking about, you said that it was easy because Angad was helping you, and I read somewhere on your Instagram that you guys have an equal share in the house, like when it comes to parenting or household chores.
I feel like the lack of conversation around it helps us, or the lack of applaud helps us. We take it, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, but we take it for granted that if he's at work, I'm going to look into everything, and when I'm at work, he looks into everything. And I know that I can sit here and peacefully do my interview with you because he's at home playing with our son, and my daughter's at school, and everything is in control, and I hope it is. I mean, for things to turn around and go crazy, it's a matter of a split second, but I hope that never happens. But he looks into, like, every little detail while I'm at work, and likewise for me, there's no other way we can be a nuclear family, raise kids and go to work.
Also, freedom to feed is a very important topic for you, right? You're advocating for women being able to freely breastfeed and also have enough education about it in general. So why is that kind of an important cause for you?
So when it comes to Freedom to Feed, we're a community that is based on experiences and more largely on having a platform where you can have the right conversations around feeding, your breastfeeding journey. And for me, the largest conversation I needed to have was around normalizing breastfeeding. There should be no stigma, no judgment, nothing around it. Let's discuss the challenges. Let's discuss what was expected out of us as mums. Not expected out of us, I'm going to take that back. Let's discuss what we put ourselves through and what we expect ourselves to do, whether we could, whether we couldn't. And that's where your kind of boat of challenges kind of gets full and you're like, okay, hey, I'm a little overwhelmed right now. I'm a little isolated right now. I think that, I need to step out, but I'm also feeding my kid. So I need more facilities. I just feel like Freedom to Feed needs to or is probably a small little platform. Like it's the size of a dot. We have 55,000, followers, and largely parents and moms and new moms. So we're hoping that through conversations we can make a difference.
That's important. Like, ऐसे बात करते हैं ना कि a motherhood is about knowing your child's needs, but it's equally as important as knowing your own needs.
Yes, and I also feel that they're ever so changing, and soon after you give birth, I feel like there should be someone out there to look after the mom as much as there are so many people out there to look after the baby. So, and every time there's a baby that's born, like my first thing is that, let's take something with the mom because she's the one who actually needs something. So yeah, and I've had friends who've done that to me. It really makes me feel special.
That's true. That's the thing, like both the people need care at that point.
I agree.
I was watching the live that you had with Vipasha Bas when she talked about how her child had a congenital heart disease. And there are so many people in the comments who are like, oh, thank you for talking about this. We went through this. We didn't know what to do. So that's why I see why. Yeah, it was a lot. Just her talking about it and even you kind of taking it all in was very, very, like, how do I say, powerful, I would say, to just hear. And that's the thing, just having that community builds a larger community of people identifying with it, right?
I fully agree with you, and I feel like having that conversation, having the strength to actually come out and have that conversation, being a mother, because I feel like every mom's a hero. What they're doing is amazing. So even if you're balancing kind of your work and your life and you're figuring out your school pickups, and at the same time, like this morning I was doing a whole bunch of interviews and there was another mother who was like, I need 10 extra minutes. I'm standing outside school trying to pick up my daughter and she's 3 years old. And I was like, of course, I totally understand. It's like, women supporting women and mothers supporting mothers and parents supporting parents, and that's what we want to do. And I feel like Bipasha's conversation was one of bravery, was one of strength, and it not only empowered us as listeners. Imagine the parents whose lives have changed after hearing that, because if it's happened to her, she took the brave step of going ahead, having faith, doing the surgery, and coming out on the other side, happier and stronger. One is that she's given so much strength and hope to everybody else. I mean, so is Karan and so is Devi, their beautiful daughter. But the other part is also, then you need to stop judging, because she said in the same breath, everybody was like, why is she not working? Why is she not getting back? And sometimes she felt the need to explain it, and now she's also reached a point where she doesn't need to. But look at the price you have to pay for it, right? And it's not fair on anyone. So stop judging, because everyone has their own story. Or whether it's IVF, or whether you have bodily changes, or whatever it is, you've got to stop judging us. You've got to give us the freedom. You've got to let us normalize our lives post-birth. And that's what Freedom to Feed also stands for.
Since you said in the beginning, it's definitely not that you're confused. I am just impressed that you have been doing so much just in general.
I wasn't till I had 2 kids, and now I'm like, sometimes I sit back and give myself a pat on my back, and I feel like that's also okay, and I want all moms to
well
do
deserved.
That. Yeah, self-love is great.
Yeah. I owe so much to my mother, so self-pats, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been such a fun conversation.
Thank you very much.
I enjoyed this so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you very much. You've been great, and you were absolutely fantastic as well.
Thank you.